this on the screen as well. Then I said to them, you see the trouble that we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. I also told them about the gracious hand of God on my life. Somebody say the gracious hand of God. Gracious hand. Yeah, that's what's been guiding us and keeping us. The gracious hand of my God on me, and what the king has said to me. And then they replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. So this might say a season of solution. A season of solution. Season of solutions. Today's sermon really is not a deep revelatory experience of something that God spoke to me in my spirit late at night. But yet today is more of a sermon or teaching on something that we all must have and obtain, which is really just good common sense. Somebody say common sense. Common sense. Although this trait many of us are supposed to have, I've come to realize that there are many people, Cindy, who just don't have common sense. As a matter of fact, many of the problems that we face, we're still in simply because we won't use common sense approaches to finding solutions to problems that we may have created ourselves. Well, look at somebody say common sense. Common sense. I was having lunch with one of my mentors, somebody that I really admire. After we were done, Nita, he was quiet the entire time, and so I began to ask him this question. I said, what are you thinking right now? He replied, and one of the most disrespectful manners that I could think of, is that this conversation was disgraceful. And I said, why? As I was a little embarrassed, I said, why? He replied, it's because you talk more about your problems than you did your solutions. I left the restaurant sitting in my car in silence and thought about the fact that yes, I acknowledged all of my problems, but never gave a solution to any of them simply because I was hoping that the person that I was talking to would give me the answers that I already had. Somebody say a wasted conversation. Wasted conversation. Yeah, wasted conversation. And so I began to think about this and thinking about 2025 and the limited capacity that I have to continue to hear the same problems over and over and over again when you have no solution. Listen to me and listen to me clear, that if you were broke in a period of time in 2024, you will face that same challenge in 2025. If you were sad at one point this year, you will face sadness in 2025. What I'm getting at is any problem that you face this year, more than likely you will face it again next year. But the question becomes, are you going to acknowledge the problem or are you going to acknowledge the solution? Yeah. The solution. Somebody say solution. This is not the season to continue to complain about what you're going through, because the person you're complaining to is going through something as well. That's a fact. This is not the season for you to talk about who did you dirty and who did you wrong, because you should have never been in that position in the first place. This is the season to take accountability and to accept the process that God is taking you through to come out on top when you continue to listen to people who keep you on the bottom. This is no longer the season for you to have a pity party about who did you wrong and what went wrong and how things could have been better, when God is saying to you right now on today, that today is the day that you should be focused on your solutions and not your problems. That is what's happening here in the text. Nehemiah is called to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. And he says, listen, you see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins and its gates have been burned. But that's the problem. Somebody say, that's the problem. That's the problem. But he gives a solution. He says, come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. Which brings me to my first point. I want you to write this down. It is good to identify your problems, but it is not good to but it's even better to identify your solutions. Oh, that's good. Charles Kennedy said it like this: a problem well stated is half solved. Which means that there is permission, Steph, to talk about the problems that you are facing, but you cannot pout about your problems and hinder your process of planning and plotting your solution.
That's right.
So Nita says, sometimes y'all may not get it, but I hope y'all getting it today. Because he says this: yeah, I see the trouble we are in. And there's something about the conversation that shifts because there are people listening. He does not want them to stay stuck on the problem. So there comes a conversation between the two parties, and one is listening, saying, well, wait a minute, we see that there's a problem, but do you have a solution? He says, yes. Well, watch this. Not only that happens, he says, I want you to understand that when you find a solution, it sets you up for success and not disgrace. Amen. Okay, all right. So let me back up and give some context here, Kim, about why Nehemiah is so strict on his approach to this. Because when he gets the call to go to Jerusalem, watch this. The Bible says in verse 4, I believe, it says that he did not even tell the people what God had revealed to him. Okay, this becomes very key because when people see problems, they only see problems. Right. And there's something irritating to me about people who don't see God in the problem. God is not absent of our problems. Can I be real for a second? Sometimes God is my problem.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Sometimes God is my problem because there's things that he's put in my life, things that he's told me to do that I don't necessarily want to do. And so listen, here it is. You can talk about it, but you got to have a solution to it. And once you understand that you have a solution, you understand that it sets you up for success and not disgrace. Where did you get that from? Because he says, come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. Disgrace. What does this mean? A place where you feel empty, a place where you feel like there's no existence, a place where you don't feel good enough, a place where you feel let down. God says, listen, that's the problem, but I need you to find the solution. Okay, all right, here we go. So solution sets you up for success and not disgrace, because solutions are based upon God's promise, not your personal problems.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Nehemiah gets a promise from God. God says, I'm going to be with you. And then he goes and talks to the king. And the king says, listen, here's a letter to validate you. Now go and do what you've been called to do. Don't focus on the problem, because I've already been your solution. Because Nehemiah could not go, first of all, if God had not sent him.
That's right.
Second of all, he could not go if the king had not validated him.
Yeah.
Because there's certain territory he could not go in unless the king gave him permission to. And so what I'm trying to reveal to somebody in here is that while you're stuck in your problem, there's a whole other territory that God has marked out for you, that when you arrive there, you'll already be validated by God and whoever needs you to be there. See, some of us, what the problem is that we need validation before we get the access. Yeah, this is why we talk to people about our problems and talk to them about our dreams before we actually plot them out and plan them, because we're in a place where we need validation. Kim, there's nothing wrong with that. But how many times do I gotta validate you?
Right.
I'm talking to somebody and let you know that you have permission to. How many times do I have to validate you to let you know who you are is who you're supposed to be in my life? So God's promise, not the personal problem. Here's another thing, write this down. Watch this. Solutions reveal your substance.
That's good.
Solutions
That's really good.
reveal your substance. My focus is on what sustains me in my challenging situation. Because watch this. Not only did he give them the solution, he says, I also told them about the gracious hand of my God on me. Right?
Right.
Because I can't do nothing without God leading me and directing me. Okay? So now he says, listen, God's hand is on my life, and I'm sharing this with you because I need you to know that I'm not just giving you a solution, but the solution has substance. Temporary solutions will not sustain you.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is good. We about to dig in now. We about to dig in now. Temporary solutions will not sustain you because temporary solutions are just motivation and don't come with discipline.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, all right. So if Nehemiah is going to rebuild the wall project, he has to have not just motivation, he has to have discipline.
That's a fact.
Because when he does not feel like it,
Yes.
then discipline kicks in and says you got to keep
Do it
doing
anyway.
it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with most of us is we're motivated, but we don't have discipline.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What do you do when your fire goes out?
Right.
What do you do when you don't feel like doing it? What do you do when you have lost everything and now you got to start over? Nehemiah says, listen, this is not a temporary solution. This is long term. I'm rebuilding my life and where I come from so that it'll be a blessing to generations after me. So when Nehemiah goes to rebuild the wall, this is not just for recreation. This is not just motivation. This is a long-term solution to a problem that will never return. Okay, all right, so solutions reveal your substance. And watch this. Nehemiah was validated by God, validated by the king. So this is what he says. He says, I'm going to rebuild the wall because I already have the backing that I need. Look at somebody say, solutions come with backing.
Yeah, they do.
That's good. I think I'm going to go home on that note right there. No, I'm serious because if it had not been for God having my back,
Yes, sir.
because some of y'all didn't have my back at all. Left me stranded and left me for dead. But I got the backing. Now I got to move into the blessing. Ooh, this is good. This is good, y'all, because he says what the problem is, and then the solution. Let me help you. All solutions require action.
Yes.
Says, I got the backing. Let's go get the blessing. And you know what the people said that was with him? Come on, let's go rebuild. I don't have time to convince you about where God is taking me. Either you're going or you're not. We can go home. Listen, I don't have time to convince you about what God is doing in my life. Either you believe it or you don't. And I'm going to keep moving regardless. And I'm so stubborn, watch this, I will move and build, then come back and get you and show you what I built for you. Just because you didn't come doesn't mean I'm not going to bless you. It just means you missed out on a process that could have matured you and made you grow up in your faith. Then somebody say, come go with me. And not in a Teddy Pendergrass type of way. But somebody say, I'm going somewhere. And I'm going to rebuild my life. I need to talk to some folks in here today that this year broke you down. But you have declared that in 2025, I'm rebuilding everything about me. I'm rebuilding my attitude. I'm rebuilding my circle. I'm rebuilding my behavior. I'm rebuilding my faith. And I'm trying to reveal to you that yes, there's a problem, but I got a solution. But it requires action. Stop telling me what you're going to do.
That's a fact.
Matter of fact, don't even talk. Let's just go. You ever been ready to leave a place and the person you roll with just keep talking? That's why that stuff don't try to church together. I know, ride by myself. Somebody say, I'm ready to go. Because the revelation is this: I've been here too long. I see what's broken in my life. And I'm ready to go fix what's broken in my life. Now watch this. God moves Nehemiah from a place of comfortability, Cindy, to some place that he has to rebuild. So wherever he's about to go is not about to be a comfortable place. Oh, watch this, because God is getting ready to move you out of your comfort zone. And so in this season of solutions, you got to put in the work. Y'all is not hearing me today. You can't sit back and wait for somebody else to lift your load. This season, it's your solution, it's your work, it's your blessing. But you got to do the work. Gotta do it. Watch this. You gotta rebuild, which means you're not necessarily starting from scratch. So in your rebuilding, you have to decide what to keep and what to get rid of. It might look like it fits the structure of what you're rebuilding, but it may not be strong enough to hold the structure of what you're building. So now I gotta figure out what to keep and what to get rid of. And that's not an easy choice. Especially when you don't know how to build or rebuild what you're building. Okay, but what do you mean by that, Pastor? Nehemiah necessarily wasn't a contractor. He wasn't. He was just somebody that God used to go and build the relationships so that the work can be done. I don't want this to go over your head, but some people don't want to work with you on your solutions because they don't know how to work with you because you don't know how to work with other people. No, that's just real. Some of y'all just don't know. Your people skills suck. I'm sorry. Your people skills just need to touch up. That's all. I don't want that. So Nehemiah has to go and build relationships. Watch this, with people who know how to do things that he doesn't know how to do. Heard a quote by a businessman that said this: you don't build a good team. A good team finds you.
That's a fact.
And I got to thinking about that because when you're trying to build your team, you build with what you know is around you. And you never get out of your comfort zone to build new relationships, to learn something that you have never known before. Can I help you? You can't be the smartest person in the room.
On the team.
You can't be that. So when they say, come let us go, here's what you have to understand, is that their decision was already made before Nehemiah said, let's go rebuild. How do I know this? Because why would Nehemiah keep it quiet? What God shared with him, right? If the people weren't already engaged in what he's going through, he's saying, I'm going to keep it quiet because I want to see if you believe in me just as much as I believe in God. Ooh, this is good.
Yes, it is.
Because watch this. Can you trust me to lead you to a place that we've never been before? Ooh. So there the relationship starts. Because many people will not follow strangers. You know, one of the things that I like about my protection of what I build or my vision is that I want to see your work before I pay for your work. Right? You know, somebody does say they're a painter, you want to see some rooms they done painted, right? They ain't crazy. I want to see your work. But what's interesting is when people say, I don't have any examples of what I've done. I'm not following that. I'm not paying for that. I need a review or something. Here's what I'm saying to you. In this season of your life, don't shy away from relationships that you're uncomfortable with, because God is getting ready to send you people who have proof of the work that they've done. You've just never been connected with them to see the work that they've done. I'm talking to somebody in
That's a
here.
fact.
Look at somebody say, relationships matter.
They matter.
Relationships matter. And if you stop abusing the relationships that you have now, then God will trust you with new ones, because the new ones that are going to have more resources and opportunities than the ones that you have now. And can I bless you like it blessed me? That if I open the door to the new relationship, it will bless you just as much as it's blessing me, just because you connected to me. Nehemiah says, and I'm done, says, let's go rebuild. Somebody said rebuild. In other words, I've got a solution to the problem. You've got the backing. Now you're en route to the blessing. But let me help you. There's more problems ahead. So he says, as I close out, and you can come play, Roger, as we go into 2025, this is what he says. He says, let us rebuild. Let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. I don't want this last part to be missed, because your efforts will always be rewarded. Write that down. Your efforts will always be rewarded. What makes the work good? The effort.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear what I just said? What makes the work good? The start. What makes the work good? The relationships. What makes the work good? The fact that God is in the middle of the work, and all I got to do is allow God to work on me so I can continue the work. So watch this. So they began. Somebody say, so they began.
So they began.
Now look at somebody say, what are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? Because I just thought we declared we're tired of being here. And we're tired of seeing our lives in ruins. So, as he talks about, and as we close, 2024 has been just like verse 17. Do you see the trouble we are in? Cleveland lies in ruins. And its protectors, its gates, have been burned with fire. And that's the problem. We know there's poverty. Give us the solution. Right? We know we have broken communities. Give us the solution. We know that we have single mothers who need help and assistance. We know the problem.
Give us a solution.
Give them a solution. Pastor, I want to call, I want to talk to you. I don't want to hear your problem. I want to hear your solution.